Son of a bitch.
Groovy.
Hey everybody, this is Matthew Movies coming at you with my review of Shot Caller, a 2017 prison film that I saw the trailer for recently and I thought it looked amazing, and I went out and I found a copy and I watched it and I loved it. I thought it was really, really great and compelling, and there were so many interesting characters and it told a really dynamic story and just absolutely worked for me. I feel like this movie is kind of the polar opposite to a large degree of American History X. Essentially, in American History X, you have this character who is this neo-Nazi and white supremacist, and then he goes to prison and he discovers that, you know, maybe his beliefs were BS, and he comes out and becomes a better man. In this film, instead, you have a guy who's, you know, living the good life and is not somebody who feels like white people are better than anybody else. And then all of a sudden he is involved in this situation that sends him to prison, and in order to survive he feels like he has to join a gang, and the only gang that is going to be welcoming to him is the white supremacist gang. So he joins it, gets indoctrinated into it, and ends up becoming one of the guys who runs the show. And to see his character arc is just really, really compelling. I mean, obviously the becoming a white supremacist is something that is just beyond morally reprehensible, and it's just a horrendous thing, but it was really fascinating to see how his character internalized his decisions, and how he made himself feel better about that he was doing this for his family, so he could get out to get to his family, or so he could send money to his family and all that kind of stuff. I mean, to see that kind of internal struggle, I thought was extremely well put together. This movie stars the guy who most people know as Jaime Lannister from Game of Thrones, but and I'll be honest with you, I can't pronounce his name, so I'm not even going to try. But he is the titular shot caller, the guy who goes in there and is, you know, this kind of white bread and weak character. Maybe not weak, but you know, he doesn't have a criminal bone in his body other than the thing that he did was just pure negligence and bad decision making. And then he gets sent there, and he immediately gets thrust into this world, and he has to survive. And I felt like his performance was just so compelling and believable, and you could really not so much understand what he was doing, but you could see his moral equivocation, or you could see how he was making himself feel like what he was doing wasn't as reprehensible as it truly was. And that was a major reason why this film worked, and he was just so compelling, and became a total badass and fearsome, and but at the same time he was the guy whose story we were watching, so I thought that was really, really interesting. And then this movie has a number of fantastic performances. There's this cop or parole officer or what have you that is just obsessed with taking him down once he gets out of prison, and just the way that whole story gets told is just great, where it's like a cat and mouse between the two of them. But as the film progresses, you realize that it's not as it seems necessarily, and even though he is totally going after him, he does understand to a certain degree who he is, and doesn't believe that he is inherently the person he is acting as there, and so there's the cat and mouse isn't necessarily him capturing him doing something criminal, but the understanding one another and manipulating one another and all that stuff is just very, very well done. And then you are introduced to the character that is his wife, who's played by Lake Bell, who's a wonderful actress, and to see the emotional turmoil that she goes throughout his whole prison stint, and the transformation he goes under. I mean, it was very, very well done. You can completely understand why she was just so devastated by what happened, and her performance was 100% believable to me. It just really made this film work. And then you have John Barenthal, who most people would know as either the Punisher in the Netflix series, or as one of the main characters in the initial seasons of The Walking Dead. And he plays one of the gang members, and he's just great. Where at the beginning, you know, he's got the upper hand, and then as the film progresses, he's more of an underling, and the way that whole thing works out is great. And then you have the original boss of the gang, who goes by in the name of Bottles, who's It's just absolutely great. He's played by an actor by the name of Jeffrey Donovan, and he does such a good job where you can see, completely understand why he is the guy who's running the yard, but at the same time he's this kind of meek guy as well, and the way that whole thing works out is really, really interesting. I mean, overall, I just think this movie was really fascinating and compelling and definitely worth watching. So if you've not heard of it, which I assume a lot of people haven't, I suggest you check it out and let me know what you think in the comment section below. And beyond that, please hit that like button, hit that share button. That way you can let other people know this movie exists and this review of it exists, and they can come and check it out and let me know what they think. And beyond that, please hit subscribe, hit that notification bell. That way you can find out when I put out a new video and come and check it out. And have yourself a good day.